I just wanted to pop on and share something with you. Look at me. I straightened my hair this morning and then I took the dog on a walk and it rained a lot. Anyway, who cares? So I wanted to share something with you. For those of you that have followed me or know of me or have read my book or anything, you will know that something that used to happen to me quite regularly was that I would burn out. Now I say at least once a year, but actually, and that actually might not sound like a lot to some people, but it is when you then spend the next 3-4 months recovering from that. So it actually starts to become that it could even be quite prominent for nearly half a year, really. And then you get yourself straight, and then before you know it, you're building up to the next burnout. Okay, so as I wanted to share something that I heard as an example used by Michael Neal, another coach who has a great little podcast called Caffeine for the Soul, if anybody fancies having a listen. But one of the things he talked about, and I can't remember the exact context, but it stuck with me because it really made me reflect on the difference in me and how my life was before exploring the 3 principles and all of the stuff that I do. Because the way he talked about it was like, and this is what the 3 principles is for me. It's like, if you think about having a laptop, okay, that's fully charged. You've plugged it in, you're fully charged, then you take it off and you use it, and it reduces and reduces until it dies, and then you need to plug it in and charge it again. And that's pretty much how my life was and how I was. My experience of life was that I would be fully charged. And interestingly, I used to laugh with Jackie, a really good friend of mine who runs Jackie Jones Coaching, and we used to laugh because it was almost like when I had a burnout, the other side of that, I'd be all guns blazing, like I'd literally have the best ideas, and I would I'd just be like literally my hi Nicola, I've straightened my hair this morning and then I've gone on a dog walk in the rain, so thanks for your compliment, but I'm not so sure looking that good. So I would laugh because actually that was when my biggest level of creativity would come, and that was because what would happen is I'd spend all the time building up to burnout, then I would burn out, then I would realize something had to give and have to change, so then I'd really kind of slow myself down, and so then when my mind was settled, it would be like boom, everything would make sense, everything would feel clear, and it was almost as though it just became a habit for me over the space of, almost like a year at a time, and if I was lucky I might get 18 months before I'd have a burnout again. And so this analogy that Michael Neal uses, which I really like, is about, so as I said, you plug your laptop into the mains, you charge it, it works really efficiently, and then it gradually lowers and lowers and lowers to the point where it dies and it's shut and you can't use it. And what understanding these 3 principles has done for me, what understanding about how my thoughts work, that I've got a system internally that works well for me, I don't need to interfere with it, that I'm much more resilient than I ever gave myself credit for. And what it's like doing, it's like the more you see about the principles, it's like you become plugged in at the mains. So I'm plugged in at the mains, okay? And that for me means I don't burn out. So, I might take myself away from that charge for a little while, but I don't leave it until it runs empty, because then it just dies, and it then takes a bit of time to recharge again. And it was quite an unhealthy habit, because although I might be pretty productive after a burnout, it was a whole lot of shit and discomfort and a horrible time where I felt like my life was on hold for months at a time that I didn't need to be doing. And so I wanted to share that, because it's about saying, the more you explore about how mind, thought and consciousness works, the more you explore and understand, particularly if you're anxious, about how it all works, it's like plugging yourself in at the mains. And, I will have times where I feel more stressed because I'm overthinking more. I'm human, I'm not immune to it. But the difference for me now feels like I am always plugged in at the mains. And so I don't worry that I'm going to run out, which is what I used to do. I used to plan. Also, I'd go absolutely mad with doing everything and think, well, I'll get all this done now, because then if I burn out, it doesn't matter because everything's done, which was just a complete vicious cycle, because it would be kind of trying to run on that level of capacity that would mean I'd end up burning out in the first place. So I wanted to share that. And yeah, that's pretty much it really. For those of you who those of you who've got books will be getting emails from me about a fresh new 1 week anxiety course that I've done. I think a lot of people have done the original one, but I've changed it. I've updated it. Answering lots of the most common questions that I get asked by everybody, which is, how do I stop my thinking? How do I do this? How do I get rid of my negative thoughts? All of that stuff. So that's the kind of things that I'm answering. But I just wanted to share that with you because it is possible for you to be plugged in at the mains. Like, we don't have to run on empty. Like, honestly, we don't. It's just a story. It's just a habit and a pattern that we build up over time. It was a total and utter pattern for me. And I would almost get to a certain amount of time of months where I felt okay, and then I start to go, oh, it's usually about now I'll burn out. And then I'd start psychologically setting myself up to completely burn out. Anyway, so I wanted to share that because that's what the 3 principles has done for me. So the principles that I share in everything that I do is really what's plugged me in at the mains. I've taken this dog for the walk. Hang on. And now look at him. Are you tired, puppy dog? Are you wet too? My little partner in crime now. I have to go out even when it's raining and I don't want to. But anyway, I feel better for it. Even though I am a bit fluffy myself. So I hope you're all well, and I will be on here on Tuesday doing Q&A as always. So I'll hopefully catch you then. Oh, Nicola, love that. Yeah, keep yourself plugged in at the mains. Keep exploring the principles and how. And don't get caught up in the words of the principles. Just explore how your mind works. We get taught at school biology. We get taught how lots of things work. We get taught how gravity works. We get taught all these things, but we don't get taught how our minds work and how thought works. And if we did, honestly, I wouldn't have ended up where I was, and we wouldn't have half as many people that were experiencing depression and anxiety. So let's educate ourselves, lovely peeps, and get yourself plugged in at the mains. Okay, bye for now.